Hi, my name's Christina. I am a youth services librarian and I like all the things, and I have a need to tell all the people about all the things that I like, and I thought a good way to do that would be to have a YouTube channel where I talk about all the books that I read. It's the best part of my job, doing reader advisory, showing kids and adults and teens great books that they're going to like. I've been doing research, watching other YouTube channels of booktubers, and they're all so amazing and so talented, and there's such a wide array of things, but I thought I'd do it a little differently since I am a librarian and I don't just read books at home. I want to do some of my videos here in my library or here in my library. And some of my videos will be just you and me, and sometimes we'll have guest stars.
Yes.
But today, for our first video, I thought it would just be you and me. So I thought a good way to start out would be to go over my top 10 books that I read in 2014. Next up, we've got two books as another one of my cheats. Tamara Pierce is one of the best writers ever. I loved her when I was younger. I loved the Circle of Magic series, and I did not even know she had other books until like a couple years ago, which, bad librarian. But about 5 years ago, I found Alana and the Song of the Lioness Quartet, and I promptly fell in love again. And so now I do this thing where I like try to spread out her books so that they're not all gone, like I haven't read them all. But what I'll usually do is I'll pick a series and I read them all really quick, and then I wait a year to read the next one. So this year I started The Protector of the Small Quartet, which is about Keladri of Mendelin. 10 years after Alana pretended to be a boy so she could get into school to train to be a knight, Keladri is the first girl to legally decide that she wants to become a knight. But she does not have an easy go of it. In the first book, she is a probationer, so she has to prove her worth twice as much as any of the boys there have to. But I love Keladri. She doesn't let that make her too bitter, and she works just as hard, and she's dedicated because she believes in what it means to be a knight, and she is always looking for ways to take care of other people, whether they're animals or other knights or other pages who are have less power than her. She's always trying to take care of them. Tamara Pierce does such a great job of world building and character development that every time I go back and read one of the series in this world, it's like going home. Going back to Tort Hall, you're just like, oh, I know these traditions and I know these people, and especially in this book, they're 10 years older than the last time we saw them in the first series. You see them in the second series too, but it's like seeing your old friends again. You could probably read them without having read the Wild Magic series or Song of the Lioness, but I would read those first because they're so good. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan was apparently a book that I totally missed the boat on. It was one of the most, highly anticipated books of 2014, and I hadn't even heard of it until I was looking through our audiobooks on Overdrive, and I was like, bookstores, yes, love. And then I started reading it, and oh, bookstores, secret societies, yes, okay, like puzzles, okay. And the beginning of the book I felt was a little problematic, but I kept going with it because there were several sentences that were just like beautiful writing, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance. But it was problematic for me in the beginning because the main character is a guy, which is totally okay with me, but the first several female characters that you encounter were super one-dimensional. Just like his roommate is the prototypical like ice queen, perfect plastic, and he even like calls her plastic or icy or something, which I just didn't feel was really, I didn't appreciate it. The second character you meet is a stripper who reads a book that the main character kind of looks down on. And then the third one is basically a manic pixie dream girl who fits every quality that he fills out a Facebook ad for. So he's like, oh, here's my dream girl. And that really made me antsy at first because all the other characters, all the male characters you meet are all have, you know, their own motivations, and they're all different, and they all have, you know, they're very well-rounded and well-written. So I was tempted to stop listening to it, but I kept going because the writing was so beautiful, and I'm really glad I did, because those, for the most part, those issues disappeared because the characters were fleshed out more as we went on. I'm not going to tell you how or why, because I don't want to ruin things for you. But Clay Jannon was laid off in the big recession, and he finds a job working for Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. And while he's working there in the middle of the night with nothing else to do, he notices these strange people who come in and check out books from, like, these mysterious old collection that they've got in the back of the store. And so he investigates what it is, and he finds this secret society, and they're trying to figure out this code and all this secret stuff. So there's secret things. There's a lot about how friendship is important, which is one of, you know, the tenets I base my life on. Definitely in the top 10 this year. Okay, so I went on a tear where I read a bunch of nonfiction books this summer, and the best one that I read was 80 Days, the Nellie Bly and Elizabeth Bisland's history-making race around the world. Jules Verne had Phileas Fogg do it first, go around the world in 80 days. Nellie Bly, who was an investigative journalist for the New York World newspaper, decided that she could do it in less than 80 days, and she wanted the newspaper to pay for it, and she talked them into it, so thank you, Joseph Pulitzer. So the day that she left, I believe it was November 14th, don't take my word for it, yes, November 14th, 1889, she set sail on a steamer across the Atlantic to go circumnavigate the globe. That same day, the editor of the Cosmopolitan, which was not the huge magazine that it is now, it was more of a literary journal, kind of, decided that one of his reporters was going to do the same thing. So he calls up Elizabeth Bisland, who is having breakfast in bed looking over her RSVPs for the literary salon she was having that evening, and told her, hey Elizabeth, you're going to travel around the world in less than 80 days, and you're going to beat Nellie Bly from the world. And she's like, no, I'm having a party. And he said, no, this is your job, you're doing it. So a couple hours later, she boarded a train and set across the country to the west to go the opposite way around the world. Nellie didn't know that she was doing it, and this is the story of both of these women. It's their backgrounds, it's their whole trip, it's how the trip affected them when they got back. It's about who won. I'm not going to tell you. You can look it up on Wikipedia if you want, but you should read this book. Matthew Goodman wrote this book, and I think my favorite part about it is that he doesn't pit the women against each other. So it was essentially a competition, but Nellie didn't know about it, so she wasn't trying to beat anybody but herself or Phileas Fogg. She was only trying to beat the clock, and so was Elizabeth Bisland. Like, there was no ill will between the women. He isn't trying to make one the good guy and one the bad guy. You get to know both their strengths and their weaknesses, because they both have them. They have different ways of traveling and how they see the world and how the trip affects them. And Nellie Bly has been a hero of mine for a long time, so it was great finding out that she, like, all these smaller, more personal things about her that I hadn't read before. Yeah, and it just makes you want to travel. He goes into the minutiae of things that are happening in, like, this Victorian world in 1889, and how you can travel, and especially if you're a woman traveling on your own, how different it is. The new ways of traveling, because there are steamships. People aren't flying places though, but there are trains and different kinds of trains that you can take, and oh my god, I could go on about this book forever. But yes, 80 Days, Elizabeth Bisland and Nellie Bly making a race around the world. Okay, so the last entry, or like number 10, but this is the last one I'm cheating on, and it's the last one I can't cheat on, so I'm gonna cheat. It's not one book. It's not 2 books, it's not 3 books, it's 4 books. It's basically every book by Maggie Stiefvater that I read this year. I read Raven Boys earlier. You know about Raven Boys, right? Like, if you don't, you need to go look it up and become obsessed. And, so I'm not going to go over all of it, but Raven Boys, oh my god, Dream Thieves, I can't say it without singing it, blue, 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 and, Scorpio Races, which is not in the series, but, and I took my sweet time getting around to it. All by Maggie Stiefvater, who, if you don't, you should follow her on any social media you can find her on, because she is delightfully strange. She's, like, you read her books and you think, oh, yeah, she's a little... No, it's more, and it's even more wonderful because she's so weird. I love it. I won't go into these books because mostly the way that I talk about them when I'm not, like, delving into, like, really tiny minutia about them is I just yell about all the characters, and so you just go, Ronan! Or Core! So, just a lot of feels. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. I love these books. I loved all of the books that I read. I reached my goal of reading 100 books. Hopefully I can do more next year without going crazy. That's not likely. I'm already there. Lisa, what else should I talk about?
I don't know, but you got 15 seconds?
15 seconds! Ronan! Okay, so those were my top 10-ish books of 2014. I hope you enjoyed me talking about them, and if you haven't read them, you'll be inspired to read one or two of them, or all of them. And if you agree with me on some of these, or you disagree with me on some of these, comment below. If you just want to yell about your favorite characters, you're welcome to do that as well. Please use all caps, so I know how much you're feeling. And happy 2015. Cheers!